There's more to life than chocolate shakes, Serena. Wow, okay.
Now hold out your hands and your knuckles so that I might wreck them with my ruler.
Good claws.
Hey, it's me, Audrey, from the future. Allison and I recorded this entire podcast. That's right, all 40-something odd episodes well over a year ago. And only now am I really digging into this backlog. So apologies for the inconsistency. I'm gonna try to do better, okay? But you know what? Life finds a way to get in the way. Anyway, at the time of recording this episode, both Allison and I were recovering from COVID. I've tried to edit out as many of the coughs as possible, so if the sound feels a little bit weird to you, that's probably why. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's called Usagi's First Kiss. We're about to jump into it. It is wild, and the episodes are only going to get more wild from here on out. Anyway, enjoy Nephrite, the pickup artist, and his inappropriate relationship with Molly, a teenager. Okay, bye.
Welcome to Sailor Moon Therapy Hour. We are your hosts, Audrey.
And I'm Allison. And we are not therapists. We just watch anime. And the anime that we've been watching is Sailor Moon, both the original DiC dub from the 90s and the more recent Viz subtitle. So we take turns watching it, and it has been a trip and also very therapeutic.
Yes.
I'm uncovering so many repressed memories. Is that the goal of therapy? I'm not sure.
Are you really?
Probably not. Well, I do, because I watch things, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, and I forgot about that. So it's like uncovering repressed memories, but they're all about Sailor Moon. Sort of like I'm Tuxedo Mask in this episode.
Great transition, Allison. How about you tell us the synopsis of this week's episode?
Thank you. So I watched, hang on, I'm trying to find that title. I watched episode 18 of the dub and 22 of the sub, because the dub misses episodes. And it was called Worth a Princess's Ransom, or Romance Under the Moon, Usagi's First Kiss, which is honestly very promising.
Yes.
Kind of a letdown.
Yeah, I have some things to say about it when we get to that point. But
yeah, when we get there.
Yeah.
So the summary of this episode, short summary, is that there is a princess in town. I don't believe they ever say where she's from, but they're in town specifically to show off their fancy diamond that's been in their family for 1,000,000 years or whatever, 400 years. And everyone's like, oh my God, maybe it's the silver Imperium crystal that they occasionally remember that they're looking for occasionally unclear reasons. And so the Negaverse is out to get it. The Sailor Scouts are like, maybe she's Princess Diamond since she has the Princess Imperial crystal. Sorry, maybe she's the Sailor Moon princess. Mm. Her name is Princess Diamond, which is also very funny. And then Tuxedo Mask is like, oh my God, I need that crystal, because he has dreams, which we'll get to. And then Molly's just there for some reason. So the episode is like, they take over first Molly, the bad guys take over first Molly, and then the Diamond Princess trying to get a hold of the diamond. And there's some backstory about Tuxedo Mask, but then it just remains a mystery, but they do rescue the diamond and Princess Diamond. And Nephrite is in trouble.
Yes, he is.
So that's our setup.
What a beautiful setup. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a trip.
Yeah.
This episode was a trip. And it was the one I remembered.
You remembered this episode?
Yeah, I was saying last time at the end of last episode that I was wondering if this would be the episode with the princess with the glasses, where when her glasses comes off, she's pretty. And I don't know why this episode stuck so strongly in my mind, especially because none of the relevant parts stuck strongly in my mind. It was specifically Princess Diamond that stuck in my head. And I was thinking about it, and I'm wondering if maybe it was just that, like, they used like a clip of this episode in one of like the Cartoon Network, Adult Swim like commercials, because I feel like I've seen that Princess Diamond like 5,000 times in my life. I feel connected to her. I feel like we might have known each other in a past life.
long time ago.
But yeah, I just have very, very distinct memories.
So you know how at the beginning, at least like Yeah, I think in both the sub and the dub, they do like Sailor Moon does like a quick thing of like what's about to happen in the episode. And I was like, is that Marvin in a dress because of the glasses? Because it's like the glasses with the spirals.
She looks exactly like the spiral Marvin glasses. And it does make you wonder if Marvin's secretly very pretty under those glasses.
Oh, I bet he is. Although he is a creep.
Nobody has that type of like bottle cap lens glasses anymore where like they distort your eyes.
I think probably some people do because it's like a very strong prescription. It would be like a really thick.
You probably do, but I feel like it's also like the whole image of like glasses make you less pretty is just not really in our cultural consciousness the same way. Like
very true.
Glasses make you sexy. Like I feel like I see that in the cultural consciousness.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe glasses make you look smart.
I'm wearing some now.
You're wearing.
They're very sexy.
And I do wonder if you would be prettier with them on.
Hold on,
let's see. Take them off. Let's see if we recognize you. Oh my God, who is that?
Who is she?
I mean, I guess one of the big like premises of the whole show is that if you wear like this on your face, nobody knows who you are.
Yeah,
so
I know. Especially this episode. We're gonna get to it, but one moment where Nephrite, just because it makes more sense in the context of where we are right now than later. But when Nephrite like takes off his "It's me, Mr. Pickup Artist" or whatever his name
is. Oh my God.
And it's like, yeah, we could tell they're like translucent. You look exactly the same.
Yeah. You look the same. I mean, I guess they also didn't recognize Sailor Moon, and she's not even wearing glasses. She's just wearing a different hairstyle and dress.
Yeah, but she's also wearing like a push-up bra. Who is she? Her own father doesn't recognize her.
We could argue that her disguise wand may actually have some sort of mystical properties that are disguising. We could apply that to her sailor costume too.
True. Well, it definitely gave her a boob job. I would say.
Don't say that about 14-year-olds.
Speaking of 14-year-olds, let's get into this
episode. Is an episode for that. So we start with there's a traffic jam of cars. Serena's late to school again. I mean, I assume school. They don't say. Yeah. And they're like, what's going on with these cars? There's some sort of security check going on. And of course, it's because of this princess and her diamond that have come to town. We cut to classroom. No, Molly runs into them on the street, and she looks very weird and very bad, like traumatized. I was like, oh, here's Molly again. She's traumatized. And she is. She's still traumatized from the last time we saw her, which was when she got she met up with Nephrite because she thought he was her boyfriend, and he like sucked all her energy out. So she's like thinking about that and flashing back to this dude that she thought she liked who then attacked her. And she's like, was that just a dream? Because that doesn't really make any sense. But she says it in a Brooklyn accent and also like kind of chipper, which didn't really match with her face, but...
Do you think I'm stupid, sailor girl? I know who you really are.
I guess it was a dream, or else I'd remember more of it.
Hey, we'd better get our rears in gear. If I'm late again, I'll get a detention.
Must have been just a dream.
Like, it's so hard to capture that. Because it's not actually a Brooklyn accent. It's a Canadian trying to do a Brooklyn accent. Yeah. But it's like close enough that it is. But it's hard to do, I feel like. Because it's wrong. But
can I tell you, interrupting, but we had suggested doing this raised hands thing on our app to try to help with the lag and talking over each other. If you do it, you do need to turn it back off because I'm getting seasick. Bouncing your image up and down. It's very distracting.
I noticed you look at it and then like it kind of like threw you off while you were talking. I was like, maybe this isn't gonna work.
I'm not sure it will, because I mean maybe I'll learn to notice it, but I definitely noticed it in the middle of this discussion. I think it just stays on until you turn it off again.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. So on Molly,
like this.
Ooh, look how she bounces.
Don't say that.
Who is she?
All right.
So Molly in the sub is definitely like very tired and in no way chipper. And she's not concerned at all about the fact that this man attacked her. She's just like, oh, does he not like me anymore? It's like, what does he think of me? And I'm still like, at no point. So this is literally the first time that we've seen her since she was like in a coma from all of her energy getting sucked out, which they never returned to her. So I assumed that she was just like really tired, and that's kind of why she's like kind of mopey this episode. But from the words that she's saying, and it sounds like in both versions, it sounds like she's just lovesick a little bit over this grown-ass man
Yeah.
instead of actually sick.
People don't seem that concerned about her. That suggests maybe she wasn't like in a coma or anything dramatic, even though that's what we've been implied happens to people when they're, I mean, actually, I don't know if we know what happens to people when they get their energy sucked out, because they've always had it returned to them in the past.
Yeah.
No, they have not. Remember, the teacher almost died. She just didn't have her last treatment.
Yeah. So they didn't get the last one. So she just got to enjoy losing a lot of weight really fast, I guess.
Oh my gosh. I have statements about that, but I'm going to save it till we have one of our moments where they rag on Sailor Moon for eating.
Yeah, so Molly...
So, in the classroom... Go ahead.
Oh, so, but didn't they say that she was hospitalized, at least in the dub? And so we're just going to gloss over that.
I cannot remember if they said it.
All right, so we're in the classroom.
Yeah, Melvin shows up. I actually always love Melvin in the dub because they just go like full ham with him, and he's like, "Heidi-ho, neighbors!"
Heidi-ho, want to hear the latest buzz? Princess Diamond's in town, and she's having a huge party to show all her family's jewels.
Who's Princess Diamond?
Only the heiress to the largest jewel collection ever.
And so he's there to tell them about Princess Diamond and her jewel and blah, blah, blah. And there's a dance, but only like the best people can get in. They all want to go. And Molly's like, I think it's going to be really boring. They invited all the people who have jewelry stores, and my mom's making me go, and I don't want to go, but she's being really hard about it, so I got to go. And the Sailor Moon's like, give me your ticket. And Molly's just like, that's not how it works.
That's interesting, because like, she doesn't really talk about how it's boring. She just talks about the fact that her mom has a jewelry store, and so like they're gonna go. They've been invited specifically by this family, who I guess the first princess of the Kingdom of Diamonds is what they call her in the sub. I don't know what that means, but it sounds...
The Kingdom of Diamonds.
Yeah, I don't think it means a country. I think it just is... Kingdom of Diamonds is probably their brand that's been in the family for generations.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah. And they have a secret treasure.
I will say that I wondered if they'd added in the Molly stuff, just because a couple other times when she says things, it didn't really like fit the situation or her face. And I was like, did they just like decide to have her be bored? Because it also seems out of character for her to be like, oh no, I have to go to a fancy dance.
Yeah.
It's not Molly.
No, she's not bored at all. She's like, I think she's personally, I still think she's recovering because I think she's missing a bunch of energy. But she is also like suffering from, I guess, this crush, like this unrequited love or whatever for, again, an adult man. Yes. This is a child. Yeah. And can't stop thinking about him. And then, so all of the stuff where we see where I would imagine they made her look bored, she was actually just like kind of tired and mopey because she seems like depressed, honestly.
Yeah. And we're doing like an arc this episode and the next couple episodes about her thing with Nephrite. So it makes sense that would be like actually a thing they're hitting on, not just like, no, a dance.
Yeah.
So for the next couple scenes, we're going to have like flip through basically all the characters so that we can see how every single character feels about this dance and this jewel coming. So like next we get like Luna sitting on a newspaper, which is how cats read newspapers. Mm-hmm. Very accurate. And she's like, oh, there's a crystal coming to town. Maybe this is the moon princess we're looking for. And then we cut to Queen Beryl, who's like, oh my God, maybe it's the Imperium silver crystal that we need to release the Negaforce. And I swear what they need it for changes from episode to episode. But
what did she say it was for?
To release the Negaforce.
No, well, because remember they cut out the Great Ruler. Because in the original sub,
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's to revive the great ruler. So that's what it does.
Yeah, I was wondering if they cut that out because it sounded too like summon Satan-y or something like that.
That would make sense because it does look like they're in hell.
Yeah, neither of us remember who the great ruler is or
No.
what that whole thing is about, so who knows?
No.
Is it Prince Diamond? Speaking of diamonds.
I thought Prince Diamond was... Who's Prince Diamond?
Isn't there a Prince Diamond later on? There's some more jewel... never mind. Let's not get into it. We'll get there when we get there.
Trying to rack our brains from shit 20 years ago.
I didn't remember that this character, the girl, was named Princess Diamond. Is she named Princess Diamond in the Japanese too?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't remember that at all.
Of the Kingdom of Diamonds. You know, Diamond of the Diamonds. Diamond is her name. Because I'm assuming their last name is Diamond.
Who owns a diamond? Yeah, and she owns a diamond. Like, we got her plot point down just like that. So Zoisite and Nephrite have a little fight, which was very hilariously dubbed and translated. And she's like, "What are you doing here? I thought Beryl summoned all the..." And he's like, "Beryl summoned all the warriors. Of course I'm here." And she's like, "She summoned the warriors, not the losers." And he goes, "Buzz off, Zoisite."
I'm amazed you'd show up, Nephlite, after that embarrassing little encounter with the Sailor Scouts.
Queen Beryl summoned her warriors, so I came.
Warriors, not losers.
Buzz off, Zoisite. You called, Majesty?
That was really good.
Again, it was much more business as usual in the sub.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Because this was like child level bickering.
Yeah.
And then, Beryl's like, "I want you to go get the crystal." And Zoisite's like, "Send me. Nephrite is a loser." and she says a couple things like that. And they had the exact same face and animation every time, which made me think they'd splice the whole conversation together out of nothing. It was really weird. But yeah, she sent Beryl sending Nephrite to go get the crystal, and she's like, "Don't fuck up because you've already messed up a lot. This is your last chance." And then again, later, Zoisite's like, "Why are you sending him?" And Beryl's like, "You don't understand. Desperation is the best motivation," which was A, should go on a work poster in their Negaverse office. But also I was like, is it? Because I don't think it's worked out. It didn't work out for Jedi. I don't know why you think it's gonna work out for Nephrite.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I thought it was interesting that's actually, I think, a really good translation of what she was saying. Actually better. That's I would say one of the few times where I actually kind of prefer what she just said to what was, I assume, is said in the sub.
Translated.
Yeah, because it's just she doesn't say that desperation is a great motivator, but she does say that he's getting desperate and implies that it's a good motivator. In terms of the way that she said it in the context, because again, I was saying that it was business as usual between Nephrite and Zoisite, who is a man in the original one.
Yes.
And they're kind of just arguing about I think Nephrite does throw some shade about shouldn't you be going to look for the legendary silver crystal, which I guess they call the Imperium crystal or whatever. But in this one, they're talking about, the party that's going to go on. He's explaining oh, we need to go look for it. And Zoisite is demanding to, Nephrite says, I'll go do it because Earth is my territory. And so, which suggests that Zoisite has been bouncing around all over the universe looking for this crystal. And now I want a series just about that. I just want to see Zoisite.
Yeah. Also, sometimes Zoisite's shut up to bug Nephrite in his mansion or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Zoisite's clearly just being a little shit, because I like they did that each of them gets assigned a territory to gather energy and explore for crystals. Although hilariously, Earth is probably the best one because good luck gathering energy on Neptune.
Right.
There's nothing there.
But it's just, unless they could get gas giant energy. But Zoisite gets...
Okay, that would be another show that I want to watch. They're terraforming Neptune, harvesting energy.
Do you think that there's ground under all that gas? Or do you think it's just a big ball of gas?
I'm pretty sure we know this answer, but I don't know what it is. But scientists know.
Oh, okay. We'll look it up later.
I don't think there is.
Zoisite gets really butthurt that Beryl immediately is like, okay, Nephrite, this is, you can go do it. And so that's why Zoiside's like, why did you let him go do that? And that's where the desperation is like a good motivator. But there is one point that I thought was really funny. That Beryl's like, because Nephrite's saying, I'm going to go do it. It's my territory. I'll go get it. And so Beryl goes, oh, great. What's your plan? And he goes, I'm not going to share it with you. He says
to Beryl?
Yes. He's like, you'll just have to wait and see. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mr. doesn't actually have a plan, is going to make it up as he goes along.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I mean, that's the first time I've seen anybody give shit back to Beryl.
Right? And I was going to say that I figured just because, like, Zoisite usually, like, rags on Nephrite, but not, like, this way was kind of weird. So, like, the vibes felt a little weird, mistranslated, so that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I will say that we now get to meet our next villain. I don't know if they have a group name. They're not like the Sailor Scouts. Our next Crystal. And because we cut to Zoisite crying on Malachite's lap, like, she's like, she/he.
Yeah. I loved it.
Has arms folded, like head in his lap, and is like, when will I get my chance? And he's like, you're gonna get a chance. It's fine. Nephrite's gonna fuck up. And then he's like, and in the meantime, like, don't question Beryl's orders. She hates that. And I'm like, no kidding.
I think we can figure that out from context clues.
So it was interesting. I was excited to meet Malachite.
Yeah.
The vibes were interesting because of the whole like gender swap stuff. Maybe they were less interesting because of the gender swap. I don't know. So I was wondering if they changed any of that in the translation.
They did. Zoisite was like sad and complaining, but I can't remember exactly what he said because I was so excited to see Malachite drenched in shadow.
I know. Yeah.
Malachite's here.
They're still being kind of mysterious.
Yeah. Because we didn't
Yeah.
fully see like his face, but that's like our first look at Malachite.
Be patient. Impatience can be a sign of weakness.
But what if Nephlite succeeds?
I doubt he will. But don't question Beryl's orders. She hates that.
I feel like I remember him being one of my favorites because I don't know why I'm so excited for Malachite to come.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited for my repressed memories to come back in the following episodes.
They're definitely building up the hype.
Yeah.
Like, he is very hyped compared to some of the other people. Like, even Zoisite, like, they teased Nephrite, they teased Zoisite with the whole, like, bickering with the other one, but, like, they didn't have this kind of, like, high-level hype that we got going on with Malachite, so I'm psyched.
I noticed that Zoisite referred to him as Malachite Sama. So, like, if you remember from being a weeaboo back in high school, like, you've got these little suffixes to names, like Naru-chan is, like, my friend, my friend Molly. And then San is, like, Mr. or Miss. So, like, Naru-san or whatever. But Sama means, like, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory is, like, that's Sama's, like, my lord or, like, my king. And so I thought that was interesting.
Well, I mean, they did seem to have a little bit of a hierarchy. Like, obviously they're close because they're basically cuddling, but also, like, he's in a throne and she's like, he.
Yeah.
And Zoisite's on, on his lap. So there did seem to be, like, some sort of, like, hierarchy thing happening there, which is neat. I was interested.
I also feel like they're in a relationship, though. Like, that was always my vibe.
I think they are.
Yeah.
But, like, old times, you could have a lord that usurp, like...
Oh, that's true.
Like...
Yeah.
There's some hierarchy stuff that could work. I've been reading a lot of what do they call them? Dan Mays, like Chinese web novels.
Ooh.
And they're the cultivation ones. They are all about those kind of hierarchies and stuff. So I'm like, oh yeah, obviously.
Are those kind of like visual novels?
This may be a conversation to have after the podcast. But yeah, they're more like light novels where they're published like online, but like one chapter every so often.
Got it. But I'll just finish it off with so Malachite does
finish him.
Malachite does say to basically have patience because Nephrite's days are numbered. So he doesn't really say anything about Zoisite's relationship with Beryl or any of that. It was more just like, don't worry, like our time is coming, something like that. It's something like it felt a little bit more mysterious and like ominous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're like 10 minutes into the episode, so we should probably
yeah
kick it up. We're like 5 minutes. All right. So so we still haven't even had everybody react to the fact that the princess is coming to town, because next we cut to Luna.
Oh my god, we're so early. We've got far at all.
No, I know. Luna talking to the Sailor Scouts, and they're all like, ooh, maybe this crystal's important. Maybe this is the Moon Princess. How do we get into this ball? Sailor Moon's like, we can't get in. And Ray picks a fight with her kind of out of nowhere, where it's like, shut up, Serena. Obviously, we'll figure something out. And they get in a fight. And then Ami is just sort of like, guys, please don't fight. Like, someone come and rescue Ami. Like, I'm desperate for someone to rescue Ami from the chaos that is her having to mediate constantly.
None of us even has an invitation. They're not gonna let us in the building.
What? You got noodles inside that head of yours to go with the meatballs? We're the Sailor Scouts. We'll figure out some way to get in there.
Why are you always yelling at me, Ray? You're so mean.
I wasn't yelling!
I say we go to the embassy tonight and see if there's a way to get in. In the meantime, I'll do some research, see what I can dig up on the princess and all those jewels of hers. Is that okay?
I knew that they were going to change it and make her more mean, but it actually made sense because, so I wrote down what they were yelling about. And it was that Usagi was like really down in the dumps about like, you have to have a ticket. There's so many guards. I just don't know. Like, it's going to be impossible for us to get in and then like to even get to Princess Diamond, blah, blah, blah. And so she's like laying out all the issues as if it's just impossible. And so she's like really down about it. And then Ray, she's not quite yelling, but she is like pretty intense about it, where she's saying like, it's literally our job to figure out these problems. Like, yes, we already know that these are problems. It's now our job to figure it out.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is that is almost what they said, but one, she sounded less down about it, and two, Ray didn't say it's our job to figure it out. Ray said, we're the sailors, we'll figure it out, which is like a different vibe.
Yep.
Like, because Ray in the translation sounded like she was saying it's not a problem, not like, no, we have to figure out the problem, which is,
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, just it gave me the vibe of like when you're in like a group project for class and somebody just won't stop complaining. And you're like, no, this is literally what we're here in this conversation for. That's what this meeting is for, is to discuss those problems.
Yes. Like Sailor Moon. I will say that probably I wondered if the conversation had been a little different, just because the next interaction, Luna kind of snaps at Serena also kind of out of nowhere. I mean, typical for the dub, she's mean to Serena, but like, I was just like, because Luna goes, I really wish you'd take this sailor stuff more seriously. There's more to life than chocolate milkshakes. And I was like, she literally was just talking about all the things that she needed to solve.
Right.
Like, she didn't.
I wish you'd take this scout business more seriously. You know, there's more to life than chocolate milkshakes.
What? Why? Where did this come from, Luna?
I don't even remember what Luna said.
Probably something normal.
Yeah.
And they always go for the food, like, how dare you eat, which is really a lot from a show that did a whole episode on like, no, you got to eat, eating's fine. And then they never shut up about Serena eating.
Yeah. Skinny Serena.
I was thinking about this because my brother made us steamed pork buns, and they were really, really, really good. And I was thinking about it because in that episode, she ate too many steamed pork buns because she hadn't eaten all day. And Luna, and I was thinking that the funny thing about that episode was that the message was sort of like, because they were like, because you hadn't eaten, you ate too many pork buns. And so their message was kind of like, you know why you shouldn't starve yourself? Because you might eat too much.
That's a good point.
Anyway, now we go to Serena's house, and her dad is in a suit because he's been invited for work. I think we find out he's like a photographer, but he's been invited for work to the dance. And she's like, take me. And he's like, no. And so finally it occurs to her. It's so funny how long this took her, because she used to use the solution every single episode, but she's like, oh, I could use my disguise wand. And so she says, transform me into the foxiest femme around, which was quite a statement.
The fuck? Hold on. Okay, I've got 2 things to say. One is that we finally found out what her dad's job is in this episode.
Yeah.
And so in the sub, he's doing an article for a magazine that he works for. So he's like actually a journalist.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a writer and photographer.
Yeah, they never exactly explain it in the dub.
Yeah, so that's why he's
interesting.
there, which makes sense, is like, and he's actually excited during all the hubbub during it because he's like, oh, a big scoop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, of course that's her dad.
Yeah,
That's so cute.
That is so appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, yes. They're both nosy and interested and gossipy and yes, cute.
And then the second thing is that she, in the sub, it was really funny because she's like, oh, I know. And she whips out the disguise pen and Luna's like, no, don't do it. Because she's like, you can't use it for personal use. But she turns herself into...
Which I was like, Luna, you literally just told her to take sailor business more seriously and figure out how to get into this dance. And then like 3 seconds later, you're like, you can't use this for personal use, Serena. And
yeah.
I'm like,
she's
not. Get a grip.
Yeah, she is complaining about like how much she wants to be there and see all the beautiful people and like be able to dress up and blah, blah, blah. So it is kind of for personal use, but also good point. And she does say that. She says, transform me into a beautiful princess. And so she turns into...
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's beautiful princess is so much more on point for A, the costume she wound up in, but B, the whole like theme of the episode, because they have a running thing about like princess waiting for your prince and princesses and secret princess and stuff.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. Foxiest Femme was like questionable on many levels.
Also, Foxy is a 1970s term for sexy. Like that wasn't even cool in the 90s.
And Femme is an LGBTQ term now.
You're right.
We'll take our words. No, it's fine.
Turned it into a whole different thing.
You got a lot of stuff happening here. Yeah. So then she and Luna have the whole little like semi fight, but she's like, no, I'm totally gonna do business. And Luna's like, when you're not eating.
Oh,
and I was like, can you guys let her eat food?
Yeah, in the sub it was literally just like Luna again saying like, you can't be using this for personal use. And then Usagi makes the correct point of like, hey, I'm gonna do sailor business. Like, this is gonna get me into the party to then see if she's the Moon Princess.
I'm also gonna have fun.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna do sailor business.
Exactly.
I love her. So we have one last person to check in with before we finally go to the party, and that is Tuxedo Mask / Darian. He wakes up in his bed from a dream where a mysterious voice and a shadowy female figure is telling him, Tuxedo Mask, find the crystal. And he goes, I will. Then we can be together again.
Oh.
So
they added that
flashback to, I guess, his past with Moon. Oh, what did he say?
Oh, it was just she does say, get me the legendary silver crystal, and he doesn't really say anything. And then he wakes up in a
I wondered if they added it because it was kind of weird. Yeah.
And he wakes up
like it makes sense that they're more vague about it, because like this one they were really trying to be like, no.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
and I did find it interesting that like, yes, it's a shadowy female figure who also happens to have the butt, like the distinctive like Usagi buns.
Yeah. A shadowy female figure who is clearly Serena. Again, for anyone who hasn't watched this series in a long time, and we're not supposed to know, except for technically if you watch the dub, you've already been told because they tell you in the first episode, but they are reincarnated from a previous life where she was the Moon Princess and he was the Earth King, and they were together, but like they got attacked and they had to like go be reborn. And so that's why he's dreaming about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the crystal has to do with anything, but
I'm not going to say anything because it'll spoil it, but I do remember why.
Okay. No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers. Only the spoilers that the dub already gave us. Okay. So in this next scene, we're at the dance. Everyone's in line getting in. And Sailor Moon in her princess dress walks by Amy and Ray, who are just in like regular dresses, and kind of waves them off. They're surprised to see her. And then she's like, oh, I hope they don't like catch me. But she's like, she goes to get in and they're like, are you on the list? And she's like, of course, I'm Countess Popover. And she goes like strolling in, and the guy's like pop over, looking through his list. And it was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was the one I wanted to comment on, because it makes more sense with like that she transformed herself into a princess. And so she literally just makes up a kingdom and goes, I'm the princess from the kingdom of Ivanovich, which I don't know what the significance of that is.
Yeah, that does sound like it would
But
be.
she says it like so regally, like she literally just walks on by, just like, I'm from Ivanovich, I'm the princess of it. And he's like, what?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just love that when she's in disguise, she's so confident. Like nothing can bring her down.
She's so good.
Yeah.
It's very Serena.
Yeah.
And she gets in and she's like, oh my gosh, because everyone's wearing like the tuxedo mask, like little like pointy mask.
Oh yeah, this is cute.
And she goes, oh, as they're dancing in their ball gowns. And she goes, oh my gosh, they're all wearing masks, just like in the movies. And I was like, Serena girl, what movies? What is this? Like,
it makes more sense in Japanese.
Is that a thing? Rich people wear masks?
Yeah, haven't you seen Eyes Wide Shut? No, she specifically,
because it's like, if it's a masquerade ball, you would be wearing masks.
Yeah.
But they never explain it.
I don't know that it's a common like thing in Japan, maybe, or it wasn't at the time. Because her comment is, "Oh my god, it's like a masquerade ball. It's like being in a foreign movie." So I think that it's like mostly a non-Japanese.
You could have said it's like if they're like, oh, it's a masquerade ball, like I would have been like, cool, I know what you're talking about. When it's just like, yeah, everyone's wearing masks like in the movies, and I was like, do people wear masks?
Yeah, that's just lazy translation.
I don't know.
I did have a comment here because she is so excited about it. She's like, I love masquerade balls. It's just like in the foreign movies. And I'm wondering if, because remember, Tuxedo Mask doesn't really have control over his transformation. He seems to transform when she transforms for the most part, except for this episode, actually. So do we think that this love for masquerades is why he's Tuxedo Mask? Because he fits just in.
That. Like, did he have a mask in his previous life? And so that's why he has the mask and that's why she likes masks? Or does he have the mask because she likes masks and his whole outfit is designed based on her fantasies?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like both of these theories. I'll also notice that literally in this scene, not only is Serena not wearing a mask, but we see a room full of people in masks and Molly standing there without a mask. And I'm like, guys, did you not get that's like the opposite of the thing where you show up and you think it's a costume party and you're not wearing and no one else is wearing costumes. You think it's a normal ball, but everyone else is wearing masks. Like, someone give these people a mask.
Yeah. Don't they just hand them out when you walk in?
Now we're right, where they all get their matching masks. So now we're gonna have the creepy adult man
Here we go
with the 14-year-old girl again, because Nephrite has noticed Molly. Molly is standing kind of sadly or bored at the edge of the dance because I guess she wants to dance and no one's dancing with her. It's not really clear. She's sad. She's looking sad. Nephrite sees her. He's wearing a pink mask, and he laughs evilly and goes, "I knew she'd be here."
No, you didn't.
And I'm like, "Why did you know that, Nephrite?"
He didn't.
There's no reason to think she'd be here. She's a high school student. Why would she be here?
Yeah.
Actually, she's a junior high student. Definitely stop thinking about where she is.
I knew she'd be here.
This is such a snoozer.
Hello, Molly. May I have this dance?
Yeah, in the Japanese, he was like, he couldn't believe his luck. Like he was like, oh my god, what luck?
See, that makes much more sense. Yeah, because he's like, this person. Molly, they voice over a thought for her, which I honestly think she probably didn't think anything, but they voice over a thought in a Brooklyn accent. She goes, "This is such a snoozer."
She does have a thought, but I didn't write down what it was because it was more, I just wrote, God, poor Molly. So like, it was just her being depressed.
It probably just wasn't a weird thing for her to think. Yeah, this is just very funny. And so he walks up and he's like, hello, Molly, which was very smooth. And then he goes, "May I have this dance?" And then he like takes off his mask and he's like, "Don't you recognize me?" And he takes off the mask and she's like, "Of course I know you. You're Maxfield Stanton or whatever."
Oh yeah, that was the name. I couldn't remember what it Maxwell or Maxfield.
I wrote it down. Maxfield. And then they just like flirt very inappropriate, or he flirts very intensely and inappropriately with her before like whisking her off to dance. And then continues to flirt with her while they're dancing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, in the Japanese, it was more, she was like, oh, like, so, because, like, she clearly recognized him, but this is the part that we were talking about earlier, where, like, you can clearly tell that it's Nephrite, and then it's like, my glasses right here, which are completely clear, and he's just like, "It's me, Nephrite."
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, like,
yeah, and she's like,
and you also have pink glasses.
I do, yeah, not
they're
currently
clear.
wearing them. But I felt so bad for her. And what was really disturbing in the Japanese, and I can see why maybe this is why they took it in that direction with Molly, because it's like disturbingly romantic. Like, it's clear that Molly has such a huge crush on him and he's really playing into it. And this dance is like the most romantic night of her life. And then like
that actually makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Actually, all of a sudden.
It's
like, damn.
really uncomfortable. And later when they go out onto the balcony, which I guess I could save that because I think there's a couple things that happen first.
Let's save it. It's gonna come up. But yeah, so yeah, and again, I was like, I don't know how much of it was like him doing his creeper voice that he does in the dub, but like, and also he's just clearly like plying her with a lot of lines, and you're just like, yeah, it makes you very. I don't think that you're meant to feel as uncomfortable or concerned for her as I did, but I was just very aware, and I was like, I don't like this. Yeah, so I wrote mask off, lol. And then then we see Serena, who's looking on. It's not really clear if she actually knows she's looking at Molly, because like she doesn't comment on Molly or Maxfield Stanton at all. But she's going, wow, I wonder if I can find my dad. I wonder if he'd recognize me. And then we see her dad in the background, and he's like, wow, she looks just like a princess. He's like, I should take a picture of her for Serena. She's always playing princess. And then Serena's like, oh, awesome. He didn't recognize me. Otherwise, he would have been Fritz, which is not a term I've ever heard. Fritz. Yeah.
What the hell is that?
And I was like, okay.
I'm kind of fritzed
teenager speak
that they made fun of that or that they created that.
According to the DiC people.
So in the scene was it just felt so strange in the Japanese. Well, I guess not that strange. I would walk that back. It's just like, I couldn't tell if her dad was attracted to her or not.
No.
Yeah.
That was not the vibe I got.
Yeah, he was taking pictures, obviously, and she's thinking in her head, oh my God, that's my dad. I wonder if he's going to recognize me or something similar. And then he's thinking, that looks just like Serena. Except grown up. And I wonder if Serena will grow up to be that beautiful or something. And so he's like taking pictures. It's really cute. But yeah, she was like, oh, he didn't recognize me. So, and then she's having a blast because she's like, oh, he didn't recognize me.
So then someone spills a drink on Serena. And so she goes running out to, I don't know what she's planning to do. I was like, just resummon your stupid dress.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh no, my dress. And we see Tuxedo Mask, who is looking at some guards on a door, and I assume he's trying to get to the jewel, but he's just like, these guards, what do I do? Because he's not a legendary jewel thief or anything. Anyways, he sees Princess Serena, quote unquote, and he's like, oh my gosh, she looks familiar. Could it be? And he thinks of the lady in his dreams. And I actually thought this was a really nice setup because what they literally just established, she doesn't look like Serena. She looks like a princess. Or I guess in the sub we established, she looks like a grown up, like.
Yeah.
And then that's what he's connecting to. And I thought that was a good way to clarify. He's not like, oh, she looks familiar like Serena, or oh, she looks familiar like Sailor Moon. He's thinking, oh, she looks like this grown up princess lady I've been dreaming about. And I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Like good. Very well executed on like implying some things. Now we're at the scene where Molly has been, I guess, whisked out onto some sort of balcony or rooftop or something with the creepy dude. And
I hate
so fucking creepy. He goes, first of all, she in her Brooklyn accent goes, reality check here, Molly. Maxfield Stanton and me. And then he goes, what's the matter? Do I make you feel uncomfortable? Which was like, I was like, fucking run, girl. And then he goes, come on, look at me. And then he does like some sort of hypnosis on her and she goes, oh. And then he goes, that's better. And then his eyes go red and his hair goes all wavy. And I was like, oh my God, this is bad. It's like very bad vibes. And then a dark shadow goes into her.
It's so much worse.
Really?
Because it's romantic. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Oh, yeah.
He's not tricking her into looking at him. I'll bet they added that so that it was that she wasn't like consenting, which she can't. Again, she cannot consent. She's 14. She's underage. This is a grown ass man.
Yeah.
And he literally he looks like they're about to like kiss each other, and she starts like closing her eyes because she's like, leaning in for a kiss, and like I can't even remember what he was saying or like what she was saying, but it was like a very kind of like flirtatious romantic kind of thing, and it was really uncomfortable, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kiss her. And I was actually fucking relieved when he just called forth his little spirit and shot that into her instead.
This is a thought I had because I was like, do I make you uncomfortable? And I was like, well, you're making me uncomfortable. And I was like, run, Molly. But I was thinking about this because I was like, I wanted to say, like, young people who are being, seduced by an adult, like, it's okay if you don't feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, that's the whole point. Like, they might make you uncomfortable, but they also might make you feel like, oh yeah, this is totally romantic and safe. That doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean that you did something wrong. Like, because as you said, it's like, it might feel very comfortable. And the key thing here is you need to be able to talk to other adults about it, safe adults. If you're in a situation where you can't get a check-in with a safe adult, that's a bad sign, because you need other people who have more experience to be able to like be like, yes, this was okay, or yes, this is not okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we both kind of felt the same thing, and that like you were thinking the same thing, because I was even thinking like, because for her, it's perfectly natural to have this all-encompassing crush and to feel this way and to be like, oh my God, I'm about to have this kiss with this man that I have a huge crush on. But it's not okay for him. Like, so it's perfectly fine for you to have the crush.
Exactly.
And for you to feel that way and to be attracted to them. But like, because it's not weird for you. Like it's probably like your first one.
Yeah.
Or like,
well, you don't have that power dynamic and that extra set of and that's why, I mean, that's what makes it taking advantage, is that they're operating on an uneven playing field. Not to get too real here, but again, I was like, I kind of see where they changed the scene, but I also feel like in some ways that undercuts the scene a little, where it's like, oh, the guy's being very creepy about it, and that's why it was wrong, versus like,
because it's often not as over the top creepy in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the thing about people that are much older than you is they are very good at lying.
Yeah.
They have more experience. Anyways, so he sends a dark shadow into her. Let's not overanalyze that metaphor. And then
she gets really fun.
From now on, obey. Yeah. It says, from now on, obey only me, your one and only master, the Negaverse, which was very upsetting. And then she turns like blue and evil and goes, yes. And that was great.
I do think you need to adjust your TV colors, because she turns purple, Allison. It's not blue.
Yeah, she just like, it was like less flesh toned, I guess is what I'm getting at. It wasn't a clear, coherent color.
It was definitely purple.
So Serena is now doing the Molly. Serena's like, it's such a snoozer. No, she doesn't say that. But Serena's like, it's boring to be at a dance and not be. She's like, I didn't realize how boring it would be if no one's asking you to dance, which I was like, yeah, kind of mood. And then, of course, Tuxedo Mask comes up and is like, may I have this dance? And so they have a romantic dance together, and they're both like, Serena's thinking this feels like a dream, and Tuxedo Mask is thinking this reminds me of my dream, which I liked, because they're like kind of on the same wavelength. And then the weird thing to me was that as they're dancing, they cut to like the musical background. I wondered if they'd changed, because it was like horror music, tense, scary cues, like something is wrong with this scene. And she's like, why do I get the feeling like we've danced together before? It all feels so right. But the music was telling me something is very, very wrong.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
So I don't know why they did that.
I'm pretty sure it was pretty romantic.
So I was like, I think it's actually meant to be romantic. Yeah, I was like, it seems like it should be romantic right now, but the music was like, something is wrong.
You know, that's something I wanted to comment on, actually. This might be the right point to bring it up since you're talking music. I don't understand why DiC swapped out so much of the original music, especially like the transformation scenes, where like I always feel so disappointed when she's transforming in the dub, whereas in the sub, when she's transforming, I'm like, ooh, Sailor Moon. Like I'm getting into it, you know?
Well, I kind of get the impression, I just assumed that maybe the way they bought it, like they weren't given all the music without voices over it, so they had to like do their own music.
I feel like because they completely changed the vibes too. Like they just changed the music.
I should point out too that it's interesting that we just went like, this scene with a girl and an adult is creepy, and this scene with a girl and an adult is a romantic. But I will say that it's they're kind of vague in the anime about how old Darien is, so the age difference is more whatever, like who knows what's going on. And then B, like Nephrite just gives like I am a grown fucking man vibes so hard. Like he doesn't seem like he's like just starting college. He seems like he's like 42 with like a mortgage. I don't know. So, and also he's a villain, so I don't think we're supposed to be creeped out.
He has several books out about pickup artistry. Like, that is the vibe that Nephrite gives.
Exactly. So, regardless, in real life, like obviously, adults should not of any age should not date 14-year-olds. Anime rules. Who knows what's going on? Yeah,
he's
anime rules. Who the fuck knows what's going on?
I mean, not that it makes it okay, but he's probably like 18. Darien is.
Well, like I think in some of the canons they make her 16 and him like 17, which then it winds up being so it's like
way better.
That's why I said it's vague. Anime rules are vague. Who knows what's going on in an anime? But yeah, don't date adults. I feels like she could tell her parents about him. I don't know if she ever does, which again, like if you can talk to your parents about a situation, it's infinitely safer.
Yeah.
So
I would assume she does.
I hope Molly could not. I said I hope Molly. I mean, Molly should tell her parents about Maxfield Stanton, but I suspect they would not approve of that situation.
I just can't get over the name Maxfield Stanton. It's like having two last
it's a great
names.
Name. Yeah. So I still have like another page to get through.
Oh my god, we gotta run through this shit.
Okay, we gotta run. All right, guys.
Sorry, no admittance.
The princess called, said it was urgent. I'm doing as asked.
She didn't tell us, huh?
So evil Molly, with her evil Brooklyn accent, which I really enjoyed, is going to get the diamond / the diamond princess. And so she goes up to the same guards that Tuxedo Mask couldn't get by. And she gets by them with the clever strategy of being like, no, I'm supposed to be here. The princess called for me. And for some reason, they bring her upstairs where we meet the princess with her glasses. And by the way, the princess looks like a character from Charlie Brown.
She's adorable.
And she's really cute. She's like, why can't Daddy present this crystal? I'm really nervous. If my stand-in doesn't show up soon, I'm going to have to do it myself. So the guards show up and they're like, this girl says you asked her to come up here. And I was like, bodyguards, wow, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, obviously this must be my stand-in, who we never see. So like, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, because they made that up for the dub.
She's like, did they really?
Yeah.
That makes much more sense. She goes, you look just like me. And I was like, she does not.
No.
And then Molly's like, you might need to get your prescription checked. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So in the sub, she's complaining about how, of course, it's the same vibe where like she doesn't want to go stand up in front of all those people. And then she's also saying how like nobody actually cares about me. They only care about this diamond and like the family and stuff. And like all they care about is this fancy diamond. And so when she hears the guards, I know. And so what Nega Molly is saying is that, yeah, I'm her friend. And the way that she introduces herself is very like she becomes so fun. Like she literally goes, I'm Naru-chan and I'm a whole lot of fun. And like, I'm her friend. And so they're like, hey, this woman, like your friend Molly is here. And the lady's like, and she's asking for you. And so it more fits into, oh, nobody cares about me. And then all of a sudden somebody says that they care about her. And so they let her in. And so she's like, oh, it's a new friend.
And thematically that kind of works with the whole issues that are going on with Molly and Nephrite, where it's like, I feel lonely and like no one here cares about me. And then Nephrite's like, no, I'm super happy to see you. And it's like, oh, this person's clearly safe. And it's like, they're not, they're just pretending to be your friend. But the reason you're going for that, I like that a lot.
Yeah. But then as soon as the doors close, of course, like she gets attacked. And I'm like, the bodyguards did not come in.
The alarms go off and we cut to everyone in the ballroom reacting to the alarms. And Serena standing with Darien or Tuxedo Mask. And then like Luna just like manifests in Serena's arms. I was like, where were you, girl?
Dude, I wrote that down too. Where did she come from?
It was great. I was like, Kat, were you in this ballroom the whole time? But she's like, it could be the Nigaverse. And then we cut to the Nephrite standing below a balcony, which it's just occurred to me is probably meant to be like a Romeo and Juliet kind of vibe.
Oh,
and he's like, princess, down here, throw me the crystal. Mwahahaha. And she's like, yes, master. But Serena shows up and tries to stop the evil Muppet girl. She's like, no, you can't give him that crystal. And then in the struggle, Serena gets thrown off the balcony. Yeah. And Luna goes, hold on. And it was like, I think it's too late for that.
To what?
But Tuxedo Mask catches her.
This is so romantic.
And then, yeah, it was really cute. She's making like crazy noises. Like she's like, no, don't let me fall. Which I figured probably wasn't in the sub. Yeah. It just felt tonally wrong.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the evil princess is like, well, when opportunity knocks, and she starts trying to throw like Darian off the roof. And Luna fucking jumps her like a queen. Yes. I was so happy.
Oh, hey, when opportunity knocks you! Something's wrong, don't you feel it?
Yeah.
Wow, Amy, how'd you notice? Was it the alarms?
Yeah. Yeah, it's much more straightforward in the sub where it's like, oh, it looks like something's going on because the alarms are going off and people are running around.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, don't you feel it? I was like, there's plenty of reasons to assume something's wrong. We cut to Nephrite, who's looking up at them on the balcony, like Tuxedo Mask catching her, and he's like, Tuxedo Mask, I hate that guy.
Tuxedo Mask. I hate that guy. If he wants to meddle in my business, he's gonna pay for it big.
There were some really good lines in here.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna like blast Tuxedo Mask, or he raises his hand, so that's what I assume. But Mars and Mercury show up in costume, and Mars uses a fire attack to stop him.
Yeah, that was dope.
It was so cool. And then Serena gets pulled up finally. And there's a weird set of scenes where I wondered if they edited it in just because it was a weird cut. Because then Serena's like looking around, she's confused. And Tuxedo Mask's like, take the stairs down. I'll meet you downstairs. And then he jumps off the balcony. And it was very strange.
No, they ruined it. No.
What happened?
Okay. Because I even took a screen cap because it's amazing. So it happened way faster. So the princess, at the point where in the dub, I guess she's saying like when opportunity knocks, I can't remember what she says, but she just knocks him off the balcony too. And so they both go over the balcony. So Luna attacks her and then shoots off and I think he's like holding on maybe. And so now he's just holding on and like dragging her. And then Luna attacks the princess, the evil version of the princess. And then when they actually fall, and she throws this umbrella at them, and he catches it and it opens, and then magically they just float down to the ground.
Oh my gosh.
And then, hold on. I need to send you this picture so you can feel so they just very gently land on the ground.
Hold it up to the camera for me.
Okay.
That's amazing. I knew they changed it because it was such a weird cut. And one of the cuts, I was like, that's her scene from when she was like looking around. I was just like, this is not what happened.
And there's a
oh my God.
Just full hearts.
With the heart eyes.
Yeah, because she's just landed and she's just like, but it's just for a split second. So I had to like rewind it and take a screen cap.
That. Was it like, oh no, kids will jump off the roof holding umbrellas? Like, was that the reason they cut that? Because otherwise it's not.
Yeah, because I was like, that must be a magic umbrella.
That's my only theory is like, you don't do something kids might mimic or whatever. But yeah, it was just such a weird scene that I was like, and I could recognize a few of the clips from earlier in the episode. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what did they change and why?
It's so sad because it was such a great moment.
So now they're both downstairs. And again, this was weird because I guess, I don't know if Tuxedo Mask moved towards the crystal, which I don't feel like is downstairs. Maybe he has the crystal. I don't know. But Mercury suddenly goes, hold it right there. Why are you after the crystal? And it was like, did we know he was after the crystal? What's happening? And he goes, it's the key to the whole universe. Until I get my hands on it, I'll never find out who I really am. And we cut to like one by one to them all gasping. And then Amy goes, you're Tuxedo Mask, friend of the Sailor Scouts. And he goes, I don't know who I really am. You remember that. And then I think he leaves. But it was just a really weird scene. And I was like, what?
It was so much cooler in the sub, I have to admit. So
I need to watch that.
he didn't have the crystal. I think that's still upstairs. Like, I think
Yeah,
somebody
that's
else
what. So I was
still
like,
had
why
it.
is she saying like hold it right there? Like, where did that come from? He's not doing
Yeah,
anything.
so she didn't do that. So like they I guess Nephrite must have run off after they attacked him. Or no, wait, hold on.
Yeah, you're right. Nephrite just kind of vanished. We're gonna see him in an alley later.
Yeah.
So I guess he left.
Because it's not the big fight yet. But so he disappears, and then I can't remember how they get into the conversation, but it's not a stop right there. It's very much a like, thank you for your help. And then he goes,
right?
He says that
because he hasn't done anything yet. Why were they mad at him?
Right. And so he does say something about the crystal and that he's looking for it, but he's not quite sure why. And he's like, I need to find out who I am. And they're like, what? And then he goes, and this is the cool part where he was like, so until I know who I am, because they're like, oh, well, you're our friend, right? And he was like, well, I don't know who I am, so I could be friend or foe. And then he takes off.
See, that's so much better. That's what I think they were trying to convey with, I don't know who I am, you remember that? But like, that's the point. He's like, I don't know if I am your friend. It would be like such a better translation there. Yeah, that whole scene made no sense. They ruined it. How dare they? Probably why that part like literally left no memory on me. All I remembered was glasses princess. So yeah, so now we see Sailor Moon watching after him with heart eyes and goes, "Oh, my mystery man." I did like that.
Oh, one thing I did write down real quick. So when Rei attacks Nephrite to like stop him from killing them, basically, she goes, "I won't let you harm my tuxedo mask." And I was like, "Oh, Rei."
Rei. So now Sailor Moon transforms, which seems kind of out of place because I was like, there's nothing to fight right now. Princess Diamond, we cut to, she has passed out in the middle of the ballroom. There's an alarmed crowd around her. Sailor Moon's dad is in the background, and they have a line for him where he goes, "Wow, poor Princess Diamond. I need a picture." Start snapping pictures.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's where he goes. He literally goes, "What a scoop. I've got a scoop."
I like that too. Yes. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. We cut to Nephrite, who is hiding in an alley, which I was like, man, fallen very low, brother. And he goes, "I will get that crystal." And he, like the shadow monster rises out of Prince Diamond, but she wakes up and then she uses like a dark beam to like take out the crowd. But Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts show up. And she like flies, the evil princess like jumps or flies off the balcony using her dark powers, which is like, feel like you could have used this earlier, girl.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But Mars, so Mars, to stop her, uses one of her like paper talismans like to exorcise her. But I wondered if they changed the wording on this, because they said, "I'll stop. I call upon the power of Mars to stop you. Mars fireball charge." And I was like, I mean, you're doing an exorcism here. Like, I don't think it's a fireball attack.
Remember how they always take out her chanting and like her actually doing the thing. And so, because she does, it's like all the like monosyllables that she chants, because it's like a full chant, and then she like throws it at him, and it's always so fucking cool. And I hate that they cut it out.
That makes sense,
because chanting.
I was like, she's not doing a fireball attack on this girl. She's doing an exorcism. So I figured they'd change that. Just because I was like, that's not what she's doing. So the monster then does come out of her. So she's exorcised. I'm using the word exorcise. They definitely did not use that word in the dub.
Right. But that is what happened.
So as the dark monster comes up, in the dark shape, you can see this like very evil monster face, which they hilariously recognize as Nephrite. And it was like, burn Nephrite.
I was like staring at it like, how did you know that was Nephrite? Because I can't tell.
Exactly. I was like, damn, burn. Because they go, "That's Nephrite's face." It was really good. And then I wrote, the darkness attacks again. So they're all like, "Oh no, what do we do?" And then they're all like, "Oh, maybe Mercury's bubbles could do something." And Mercury's like, "I don't know, but I'll try. And it was like, lol. Because like even the Mercury is like, I don't know if my bubbles are useful. In the situation where it seems most likely to be useful, she's still like, I don't know about this shit.
They ruined it again. Man, Big DiC is all over this episode, because I actually wrote they seem to be working better together now, because this was like one of the rare scenes where, so they're being attacked and it's like they're frozen kind of in place by Nephrite. And so Mars can't move. Sailor Moon is saying like, we're gonna die probably, like if we don't do something. And then Sailor Mercury, again taking the initiative, goes, I want to try something. And then I can't remember what she does. Is it like the bubbles blast? And so like they're all working together.
But like that's the thing. I was like, why wouldn't you let her come up with this? Why did two different people have to tell her to do this? And then she was like, I don't know about this. Yeah, so she does her bubbles attack. We don't actually get to see it do anything, but we assume it's helpful because then the tiara attack explodes the monster. I will say afterwards, Sailor Moon and Mercury does the bubbles attack. But afterwards, Sailor Moon and Sailor Mars like jump up and down and clap hands and celebrate. And it was so cute to see them actually bonding and getting along.
Yeah. I'm excited for their friendship growing.
It was really good. So to finish the episode, Princess Diamond she's outside because she was possessed. She's waking up. She doesn't have her glasses on. She has like normal anime eyes underneath. And she's like feeling around for her glasses. And Luna goes up to her and is like, are you the Moon Princess? And she's like, hang on, let me find my glasses. She puts them on and Luna's like, are you the Moon Princess? And she's like, oh my God, a talking cat. And she screams. And Luna's like, she's not it. And then Luna goes, the real princess would have been expecting me. And I was like, lol, she so was not.
No.
Because that is exactly what Serena did when the cat talked to her. Exact same thing.
Yeah.
So the princess does her reveal of the crystal, and it is a statue of, looks like the princess with her glasses, sparkling like crazy. It's kind of pretty, kind of tacky.
Yeah.
And she says, this has been in our family for 400 years. And I'm like, well, why does it look exactly like you? I feel like this lends credence to the idea that she's the Moon Princess.
That's a good point.
But Nephrite's like, this is worthless to me. And then Luna's like, I guess I'll have to keep looking for my princess. Hey, Serena. Which I really liked. It was well done.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Serena goes, I feel like I'm like a real princess right now, waiting for my prince. And either bumps into Tuxedo Mask or imagines/dreams that she bumps into Tuxedo Mask, because they have this like dance and they're saying things. It's implied that this is all a dream.
No, it's real.
So she gets her first kiss in a dream. It's very strongly in the dub implied to be a dream. And she says, for now, we can only meet in our dreams. So I think it was really weird. I didn't like it. It was unclear, but the vibe was like, I guess she just suddenly fantasized or dreamed about Tuxedo Mask showing up and giving her her first kiss.
I know why. So, first of all, how convenient that everybody forgets that there was like a crazy monster attacking them, and they just celebrate the crystal.
They all got passed out. It's fine.
And they
pass
all
out
wake
all the
up.
time at balls.
Yeah, totally.
And then just proceed back to the event. They don't. Yeah. Nobody's like, oh my God, there was a gas attack.
Right.
Like, yeah, this is fine.
Like, oh,
rich people love passing out for no reason.
Yeah. So they all start dancing again. And then Serena walks up to this table. And so she's back in her princess outfit. And because she's just having the time of her life now. And she goes up to this table that's full of alcoholic beverages. And is like, ooh, I want some juice. And juice.
Oh, that's why they did the dream thing. She's fucking drunk.
Yes. And so she grabs a glass and like drinks it thinking it's juice, and then immediately is hammered. And so then she's kind of like drunkenly like, bleh, and like bumps into Tuxedo Mask, who is like helping to stand her up. And then this is what I didn't like is that so he takes her out onto a balcony.
First kiss with an underage girl while she's drunk. Yeah,
and Dad. So they're both talking about how like like this feels like there's something about like very long ago, like I feel like we knew each other or something. And it's like it would be romantic, except for the fact that she is drunk. And I literally wrote, cute, but sir, she is drunk. and it feels very creepy because he's like leaning her up against this pillar because she can't hold herself up.
A drunk girl, isolated her from everyone else, flirted with her and kissed her. I don't like that. Nope.
So it's not my favorite for her first kiss.
Yeah. And that doesn't, because I was like, the dream thing was so weird.
Yeah.
And also very confusing. Like, I was like, is this a dream or isn't it? Why is this so confusing? Why did it happen out of the blue? I thought that was a bad choice, but honestly, I'm not really sure what else they could have done with that. Like, they kind of do have to change it.
It is animated kind of dreamlike because, and there's a cute moment where she's saying this feels like, in her head, she's saying this feels nostalgic, you know, because obviously, like, they're faded loves. I think that they could have fixed it by just not just cutting the alcohol part and just having her be her normal clumsy self. And then
she could have just been like, I feel kind of dreamy, you know. I think you're right. I think they could have just cut that and then left the rest of it. I haven't seen the scene, but that would be my guess. The animation style was a little weird, which is part of why I was like, is this a dream or not? I can't tell. But
that might be why they did that, I guess.
Maybe they just didn't want to have her have a kiss, because I mean, but that's literally in the dub. They're definitely reducing that age difference.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know, I'm a sucker for romance. And this one is just chock full of like, it's so romantic, but there's something really fucked up about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're really gonna like lean into the Nephrite Molly tragic romance angle. So we'll see what they do with that.
God, there must be so much fan fiction about that.
The next episode is called Molly's Folly, or Wish Upon a Star, Naru's First Love. And the episode after that is Naru's Tears, Nephrite Dies for Love.
Oh my God! It's going to be Nephrite's funeral.
I know, it's coming up. So not next episode, but the episode after that, Nephrite's funeral.
Did I sound too excited for that?
I mean, mood.
I mean, here's the thing. Jedi never sexually harassed underage girls like this one did.
Jedi had very strong asexual vibes.
Yes.
Like, he had like the episode where Serena in costume was flirting with him and that other monster girl were flirting with him. He seemed just kind of bewildered by the whole of it.
Yeah.
I really liked that for him.
It's so funny for me how and we say this every time, but like how he uses his sexuality without knowing that he's using it. Like, he just is naturally hot. And like doesn't realize that is why he's so effective, is that he's just really hot.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Nephrite's like a sleaze bag.
Yeah.
So what do you think the Sailor Says was?
Okay, let me remember what the dub was doing. Okay, so I think it's going to be something around, it's usually like, I can't go wrong with trying the power of friendship or something. And how through friendship you can overcome obstacles. We'll go with that.
Okay. What obstacles are they overcoming?
I mean, not my best effort.
Audrey says, friendship will help you overcome obstacles. Please let me go lie down.
So what was it?
I will say, this Sailor Says, I think they kind of got some of the vibes we got, because they were like, we're going to talk about stranger danger.
Oh, wow. I'm impressed.
I'm going to say ahead of time that I felt like this specific advice fits better for the previous episode where Molly goes and meets him like alone at a mall. But anyways, Sailor says, when Tuxedo Mask said he wanted the silver Imperial crystal, I didn't know if I could trust him anymore. It'd be nice if we could trust everyone, but there are people in the world who are dangerous. Be careful. There are people in your community and other places who can hurt you. Let your parents and friends know where you're going. And don't go to places that are deserted or make you feel scared. A place where you are scared is a place where you shouldn't be. Sailor Moon says, see ya.
Just so you know, your neighbor down the street might be a murderer. All right, bye.
Well, and here's where I said they had half good advice, which is like, people in your community that you trust might not be trustworthy. They can hurt you. Talk to your parents. But then they also had this whole like, don't go deserted places where you feel scared, which is like not a thing that happened in this episode.
Yeah. That's literally what happened.
They were like a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. This episode, she wasn't in a deserted place. She never felt scared. So that wasn't very helpful advice for her avoiding the creepy dude. So I thought I was like, I like that you're finally addressing this, but I wish you like could match your messages up a little more to the content.
Yeah, it's a little bit too little too late also, because I have definitely, after watching Molly meet up with Nephrite in an abandoned mall, already taken several Tinder dates to abandoned malls.
Yes. Also, like, is that an issue? Like, teenagers going places they feel scared and not realizing that they shouldn't go somewhere? I mean, I guess, like, because to me, like, when teenagers do that, that's like beginning of a horror movie. Like, let's break into the haunted mansion. It's not like beginning of being taken advantage of by an older dude.
Right.
Don't go somewhere you feel scared. What?
Yeah, the one for the modern era is don't go make TikToks in abandoned buildings where you feel scared.
Yeah. Don't go. What is it they call it? Urban adventuring, urban exploring, something like that.
Yeah, urban exploration.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not safe. Buildings can collapse on you.
But there's also something to be said for like, it's also kind of bad advice to like, don't go anywhere you're scared. Because I'm like, well, sometimes it's scary to go give a speech somewhere. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go there.
And like they changed it in this episode so she was like uncomfortable, but like the whole point is like a lot of times you don't feel uncomfortable with the people that aren't safe, which is why you still need to tell people where you're going and check in with an adult, because like they can pick up on stuff that you can't pick up on.
Well, yeah, because these people are predators, and that's literally what they do, is try to make you feel comfortable.
They camouflage.
Yeah,
they camouflage. So it's not like terrible advice. Like, I do agree, like, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you're allowed to get yourself out of a situation, even if people are pressuring you. But it's also not like really helpful for the situation that Molly was in, because she wasn't feeling uncomfortable. Just try to find somebody trustworthy that you can talk to, because it's really dangerous to be in a situation where you can't get that gut check from anyone. So ideally, you'll talk to these people, your parents, you know, or other someone you'll be able to say, hey, I really like this grown-up man without
I really like this. I really like this man, Maxfield Stanton, and your mom's like, what? The pickup artist?
Yeah. But it's you gotta have
the entrepreneur who was on the cover of Entrepreneur, Maxfield Stanton.
I love it. But yeah, I think that's a lot of times the reason that people are keeping these secrets is they're worried they're going to be judged or told
and a lot of times they are,
or something that's important to them.
You know? Yeah. You just accept.
So yeah, it's great. Love it. So that's our therapy for all of you guys.
Yeah.
Is, you know, cultivate those supportive relationships that can do the vibe checks.
Yes.
Vibe check.
Vibe check. Creep check.
What? I think we already said that next episode will be Molly's Folly, so I guess we're gonna have a lot more vibe checks going on as well.
All right, so we're gonna end with our own Sailor Says.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with Sailor Says. Being drunk means that you can't consent.
I mean, that's a very good one.
And so if you really want to kiss your crush or kiss someone, it doesn't have to be a crush. Maybe it's a one-night stand. That's whatever. But you're sober and they're drunk. They cannot consent. That is not okay for you to do. So do not separate them from their friends. In fact, go find their friends and be like, hey, she's drunk. Take care of her.
Because you want to know that they're actually want to have a kiss with you. Like, that's important. So wait till they can do that.
Yes.
Let's see. Mine, I feel like I've already lectured enough on the whole, like, you know, stranger danger, blah, blah, blah. I've given that. So let me pick a different Sailor Says. Let's try a different angle. Sailor says that Well, I honestly, you know what I thought they were gonna do when they started with like with the when Tuxedo Mask said he wanted the Sailor Crystal. I didn't know if I could trust him. I honestly thought they were gonna give us a lecture about stealing being wrong. I was like, even if you really need it to recover your lost memories, stealing things is wrong.
I like that one.
So that's not my lecture. My lecture is if your friend needs a crystal to recover his lost memories, you should help him get that crystal. Jeez. Why aren't you guys more helpful? He helps you all the time. Go help him.
Does, yeah.
That's my lecture.
Go help him.
So
Then maybe you'll get a consensual kiss.
Yeah. Barter for the kiss.
Don't do that.
Oh boy. Also stop telling your friend not to eat. That's just weird, Luna. Get a grip.
Yeah.
Examine your issues, Luna. I mean, we've said it before. I'll say it again. It's more endearing when she's making mistakes as a young voice than when she's making mistakes as like a mom voice.
Yeah. Not even mom. Like she sounds like a grandma. She sounds like Mary Poppins. Like Grandma Mary Poppins.
And she's like, "Don't eat, Serena."
Yeah. like good
You're
God.
going to get fat.
It's like the headmistress of my school is telling me not to eat.
There's more to life than chocolate shakes, Serena. Wow. Okay.
Now put out your hands and your knuckles so that I might rip them with my ruler.
Claws. But she did save Serena's life this time. That was badass. I was into it.
So. All right. Well, I guess we got to end. We already did our Sailor sets.
All right, folks. I will see you all. We'll talk to you all next week. Have a beautiful week and be ready for more therapy.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.